Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and welcome to a new video. So today we're going to do a chatty video. We're going to do a little Q&A and it's going to be my first ever Q&A. And this was originally supposed to be 600 subscribers here on YouTube Q&A, which I wanted to do last year because, funny story, I actually hit 600 subscribers like last spring, but then I took a break for the summer and my subscriber count actually went below 600. And then for the rest of the year I just didn't upload enough videos to gain any traction. I think I uploaded like a total of 20 videos for the whole year of 2023, which unfortunately just wasn't enough for my channel to, you know, do any growth. But nonetheless, I think it can still be a celebration of 600 subscribers because obviously I still very much appreciate all of you that are here and that are watching. And also thank you for sending the questions for the Q&A last year, and I apologize that it took me this long to get to them, but yeah, we're doing it today. So yeah, I have all of the questions here in the NHL app. I'm a bit amazed that like they haven't disappeared. And yeah, like you sent such nice and respectful questions even though it was anonymous, so that's nice. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into them. Okay, so the first question is, what stuff could a person do in a library that would be considered weird by other people, especially by the staff? So I've actually never worked at a library, so I don't know if I can speak for the staff part, but when it's like, let's say the Municipal library here in Prague, it depends on the branch, like some are tiny and some are pretty big, but I guess just, you know, being like super loud, but like you can definitely talk there. Like when I was doing some tutoring in college, I had some lessons there, so yeah, you shouldn't be like shouting. I think in some of the branches you can eat, so I guess just general stuff for being in public, except for the part that you are supposed to be a bit quieter, but yeah, you can do a bit of noise. The next question is quite deep, so it's, what are some lessons you've learned thanks to having your channel? And yeah, I think I learned so many things thanks to booktube and the bookish community that I don't think I can like list them all, but it can be kind of summed up that before booktube I don't think I was like a part of an international community. So booktube and just like meeting all kinds of people and learning about all kinds of books has broadened my horizon so much, because like growing up in the Czech Republic and even like in my early 20s, you are only exposed to certain kinds of books that are marketed here or translated into Czech, and like I did read in English before that, but still like I wasn't really hearing about a lot of the books that I know of today. And I'm meeting people with so many different identities and life experiences that aren't necessarily present in my social bubble in Prague. And also, like, since I started booktube, I also was continuing to discover my own identity. So yeah, so many things. And obviously I also learned a whole lot about YouTube and content creation in general. I learned about how time consuming it can be and how energy demanding it can be, how frustrating it can be, but also like how it's really fueling my soul, and yeah, how I really enjoy it. So yeah, I don't really have a more profound answer right now, but yeah, I can just barely picture like what my life was like before I joined booktube, so there's that. Next we have favorite movie or series. So I don't watch that many movies, I just love some rom-coms like You've Got Mail and Dirty Dancing and Heartbreaker, which is like a French rom-com. But when it comes to series, there is a clear winner, and that is Gilmore Girls, which is a show that I've watched since I was a teenager. For many times I learned English because of it. I found so many like music recommendations, and yeah, every time I watch it, it really makes me think about life, and there's just so much to it in terms of the references and yeah, things to think about. So yeah, I rewatch it to this day, and yeah, it's number one, and it's been for a long time, and it probably will be for a long time. But let's also add, for people who've never watched it and maybe want to give it a try, it hasn't necessarily like aged super well in all aspects, so there will be some problematic stuff, but yeah, for me it's an integral part of my life, let's say. Then someone asked, what's something you love but don't share much on your channel? And I think in vlogs I do share quite a lot of things that I do. enjoy quite, you know, naturally, because I am doing them. So like I love walks and going to cafes and traveling, and I like learning Spanish, and also I like coding, which I guess I don't talk about much on my channel, but yeah, I work in IT as a developer. A random thing I like that I don't talk about often is like real estate. So I just like looking up properties, or just watching like real estate reality shows. I think I watched all of them on Netflix. So yeah, that's one thing. I think in like another life where I would have like a totally different personality and skill set, I would like to be like a real estate agent or just do something in the industry. And I guess I actually don't talk that much about music, although like music is my like biggest interest or biggest love. I think even bigger than reading if I had to choose. So it's not something that comes up very often in vlogs, I guess, but yeah, I do love music very much. Next one is, what are you currently reading? So the person who sent this was probably interested in what I was reading last spring, but right now I'm reading Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. I've been in a slow reading mode, so yeah, I started this maybe like a week ago, and I'm only on page 84, but so far I am enjoying this. Yeah, in case you don't know, this is an adult contemporary, and it starts off when this young black woman babysits a kid, and they go into a supermarket, and the staff there thinks that she kidnapped the kid, and yeah, things kind of go from there. It's kind of starting slowly, so yeah, I don't know where it's going to go, but yeah, it can so highly recommend it, and yeah, so far enjoying it. Do you give 5 stars easily? This is such a good question, because I think it kind of changed throughout the years. So back then, like even before I started my channel and I just had Goodreads for a few years, I kind of used to give 5 stars to absolutely everything. You know, if I liked it, it was 5 stars. And then when I started my channel, I kind of calmed down, and it wasn't that easy to give a 5 stars. And now I think maybe in the last year I was giving 5 stars more often. Again, for me it's more about like the emotional reaction or attachment that I have for the book. So I would say the answer is yes, still, but yeah, the book has to deserve it. The next one cracks me up a bit. Is IT difficult? Lol. That is a very broad question, my friend. So there are so many different positions in IT. If we're to talk specifically about the developer job, yeah, I would say it's quite hard. Like, it's not an easy job, and yeah, it's quite like demanding when it comes to brain power and technology you have to learn and keep up with. But at the same time, like, I never want to like discourage anyone from going into IT, because there are a lot of misconceptions, like for example that you have to be good at math, which is absolutely not true. Like, I kind of struggled with some parts of math in high school, and you know, then I never studied IT or anything technical. And unless you're doing some like very specific things, if you're just like programming websites or applications or whatever, like, you don't need that much math. And for some positions you don't even have to know that much to get started, but yeah, that would be for a longer talk. I would say one of the main things is that you have to be on board with the fact that it's going to be frustrating, and that you're going to be solving problems every day, sometimes all day. And so I guess like some people just get the satisfaction of like cracking a problem, and then like it finally works and you're happy and on to the next one. It quite works for my sense of detail and pattern recognition, and yeah, it can be quite creative too sometimes, so I would recommend. Honestly, I lost some of my passion for it, because like when you're doing it every day and you're doing a specific thing, and then at work there are like so many more aspects that are coming into it, and I'm not yet at a stage that I would have the conditions that I want. But yeah, it's definitely something that I enjoy doing. But yeah, if you just want to try, like if you would enjoy it, I will leave a resource in the description. It's the W3C school. They just have like very simple tutorials when you have like little interactive exercises, and yeah, you can try out if you would maybe enjoy it. Next we have, what's the best and worst thing about living in Prague? That's such a good question. So obviously there are so many best things. So if you don't know, I grew up in a small town, like 2 hours outside of Prague. So when I was growing up, I almost never went to Prague because that was too far away. We also didn't have a car. So yeah, from when I was a teenager, I knew that I wanted to move to Prague. And then I did when I went to college. It's the biggest city in the Czech Republic, but it's not like insanely huge. But I just love all of the opportunities here, be it work or hobbies or anything you're interested in. And yeah, it's just a really magical place with, you know, stunning architecture, a lot of history, great parks, great cafes. Some of the worst things. So, I mean, lately I've been thinking that like one of the worst thing is that I love living here, but like I hate weather like half of the year. So I hate the Central European winter, like I just don't thrive in it. So for a big portion of the year, I just wish I were somewhere where it's warmer. And another downside of Prague is that we don't have sea. Like the whole Czech Republic obviously doesn't have sea. So yeah, that's another like disadvantage. And obviously it's a big city, so the criminality rate is going to be higher than in some smaller towns, even though it can kind of depend. But yeah, definitely higher than where I grew up. Oh, also another thing I love about Prague is the anonymity, because when I was growing up in the small town, I just hated how like you couldn't fart without like everyone in town knowing. And yeah, I just don't enjoy like being perceived all of the time by people I know, and just having to like say hi all the time to someone, like when you just want to like grocery shop in peace. That sounds so antisocial, but I think that some people that like are introverted or like their privacy and grew up in small towns will maybe understand. What annoys you most about being a celiac? Oh boy, don't get me started. There are so many things that annoy me about it. You have everything is 3 times expensive, and like when it comes to bread, it's not going to be that good. Like half of it might be like just a hole, or there might be mold often. So yeah, it's really expensive. Another aspect is the social one. So like I have to, every time I meet someone or every time there's any social event, I just have to explain like over and over again like what it is, what I can have, what I can't have, and yeah, answer all of the same questions over and over again, which like I don't mind if you're like asking kind of respectfully. And obviously the actual fact that like till I die I cannot have like a lot of the things that I grew up with, and yeah, just like a huge portion of products that are being sold. That's also annoying, but I will say that like the most annoying thing is the sheer inconvenience of it. When I'm home it's fine because like I live alone and I have a 100% gluten-free household, which also would be more difficult if I lived with other people. But I just have to plan all of the time, be prepared all of the time, and even if I'm home, because like I have like super limited takeout options. But like yeah, when I step outside, like I always have to have some snacks, I always have to have a plan of where I'm going to encounter some gluten-free food. And yeah, maybe it's more like impractical than you would think, because like there's the thing that's like cross-contamination. So even though some people risk it and sometimes maybe get away with it, like it's insanely risky to just eat at a normal restaurant that just happens to have like gluten-free items on the menu. Like there is a very high chance that they will cross-contaminate it, like while preparing or while storing or while serving. Like even if they are like super willing to help you, like if they don't know what they're doing, which they probably don't know, there's a very high chance that it will be contaminated and I will get sick. So yeah, basically I just try to eat at 100% gluten-free places. And like there aren't that many, like even in Prague there are like maybe like 3 restaurants and like maybe like 2 cafes that are like, you know, all over Prague. So if you happen to be somewhere, maybe there's not anything nearby, or like it's not the correct type of place for the social situation you're in or whatever. And also obviously when traveling I have to plan a lot more. I can't be spontaneous very much because like yeah, I can't just walk into a random restaurant or something like that. But yeah, I could go on forever. So yeah, just the impracticality of it is something that is like daily mental tax. Switching to a bookish one, how easy it is to find English books in Czech Republic and what do they cost? So it is relatively easy, but the choice is a bit limited. So obviously there aren't going to be like that many English books as in an English speaking country, or even some, you know, I guess like Western Europe countries. We have this huge bookstore called Luxor. There is something like Waterstones, and there is like one floor dedicated to English books. So yeah, that's probably like the best bet. And then there are like a couple of indie English bookstores. So yeah, as I said, quite easy to find, but you might not find everything that you want. And yeah, books aren't that cheap, but they also aren't like insanely expensive. There are like limited options for like really cheap books. Like every time I see like UK booktubers like getting books for like £1 or like even like £3, I'm a bit jealous. And yeah, so like the books might have like a similar price, but like it's comparatively more expensive considering like how much we earn compared to other countries. So yeah, it's not as bad as in some other countries, but yeah, could be better. Next one is also a funny one. What's your filming and editing routine? I wish I had a routine. Okay, let's be honest. So my filming routine is like, oh, I really want a video to be able to upload it. And yeah, so like just let's psych myself up for filming, or like plan when like my hair is going to be like relatively washed and it's not going to be like 4 days hair unwashed. And let's plan like when I'm likely to have the energy and time for it. Sometimes I film on the weekend, sometimes like during my lunch break when I'm working from home. With vlogs it's much easier. And when it comes to editing, I actually really enjoy editing. So like usually when I have some footage to edit, I usually edit like super soon. So yeah, that's one part that is quite easy, although like it takes quite a lot of time. But yeah, I just love having the footage ready to edit. And yeah, I would like to have like a more stable routine, but every week is different, and like my energy is like up and down, and then like maybe I get a migraine. So yeah, in some aspects it's a bit unpredictable. So yeah, I'm just trying my best. Another bookish one. What are your favorite bookish spots in Prague? So I guess that would be mostly the bookstores, and obviously the libraries. So we have like the main branch of the Municipal library in the center, and I find it really amusing that there's this like book statue that I like barely glance at anymore, but like it became viral on TikTok. So now there are like queues of people like specifically like looking it up and going there, and then they stand in queue to have a look. So yeah, that's a popular bookish spot right now. And then you have the bookstores. So I've already mentioned Luxor, and then you have the Global bookstore, and then there's also the Shakespeare and Sons, and then there's also like a branch of a company called Budget Books that is completely just English books, well, mostly English books. So I guess that's kind of it. Like before I moved to Prague, like every time I went to Prague like on a trip, I would go to Luxor, the huge bookstore, and I was like, when I'm going to live in Prague, I'm going to be there all the time. But now I'm really not. Also, like there isn't like a solid cafe. Like there's one, but it's kind of like not that great. So, and there aren't even like chairs, and like yeah, they're not like inviting you to hang out there. So yeah, I only go there for like maybe like more special occasions. And then we have the last one. So it's, do you want to write your own book eventually? Yeah, so I think this also kind of changed during the years. So I mean, I always kind of liked writing, but I was mostly just writing like school assignments, and I wrote a couple of things like just for my own pleasure, like I guess like 1 or 2 short stories. And I did write a lot of poetry as a teenager, and then I just like deleted it all. And I have written some poetry since. So yeah, I was thinking that maybe if I publish something, it might be poetry, or like at some point I kind of wanted to like write my own non-fiction book, like kind of self-help book when I was really into self-help. But yeah, I'm not sure about that anymore. And when it comes to fiction, like I don't see myself writing or publishing a book, because like I do think that, like, you know, the teachers always said like I had some skill or whatever, but like I don't have really the ideas, and like I don't think I would like enjoy like plotting a book and making sure like it has all of the right beats and everything. So yeah, it's not really that appealing to me. And also like I don't know how authors do it and like don't like self-insert like so much. So that would be definitely a challenge to like write from somebody else's perspective who isn't me. So yeah, poetry is the safest bet, but also it's like quite personal. It's definitely not like one of my big goals right now. It does sound like such a nice idea to like have a fiction book out, and like I would be interested in it like maybe like partially from the perspective of like writing some representation. So like let's say I would write a book about a girl with celiac or something like that. But yeah, I really don't know if I would have the passion and the skill to actually execute on it. But yeah, those are all of the questions. Thank you again for being here and watching and sending questions. I had a lot of fun with them. I guess I rambled quite a lot, but yeah, it has been nice. But yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!